This has happened several times at this point. It started about 16 months ago, when I was cleaning my house around 12 am. My husband, boyfriend at the time, worked nights, so I had adjusted to his schedule. I usually kept the blinds open during the day, and would go around closing them at night while I tidied up before bed. Our room was my last stop on the first night this happened. The curtains and blinds were open as I was sweeping the floor when I felt the sensation of being watched. I looked around me when my eyes focused on the silver sedan parked outside my house, mostly in the grass on my front lawn. Now, for context, my bedroom window is about 15 yards from the road in front of my house. It's a small front yard in a pretty densely populated neighborhood. Anyway, I saw the car before I saw her or him, I'm not sure. But there was clearly someone sitting in the driver's seat of the car, and another person standing about 5 yards from my window, clearly staring at me. The only reason I could see this is because the moon was fairly bright this night. I shrieked and dropped to the floor, and crawled to the light switch to turn it off so I couldn't be seen. I called my husband to ask what I should do, and he told me to call the cops. Duh, I did, and of course, by the time they got there, the car was gone. They asked if they could see the security footage, and I agreed. But the footage from that section of time was just gone. It skipped over the few minutes that they would have been outside. This has happened several times since then, and I've completely given up on calling the police, as I feel as if they think I'm crazy. I have no proof that this is happening, but I would like to have some opinions as to what they may be doing. In the past 16 months, it's happened probably 10 times. Sometimes, the person is standing in the yard, and sometimes they aren't. Also, the car has been different every single time, but the light is always on inside the cabin of the vehicle. But when I go to look, the people inside are never looking to where I can see their faces. I'll run to grab my phone to call someone, anyone, but they will already be gone. For some context, we live in a town on a river. We also use weed. We can't buy Delta gummies here in our town, and the nearest place is in a Crossroads gas station about 30 minutes from us, across the bridge in the next state. I got paid and wanted some gummies. My boyfriend said he would drive us up there to eat at the local diner and do our shopping in the morning. We left at 5 am. When we got done eating, the sun was up already. Boyfriend takes my card and goes in the station. We parked our pickup next to, from what I could see of him, an ancient old man in his pickup, smoking a cig. Whatever, right? It's early, there's a diner, we're surrounded by farms, and in between a couple of big cities, so I don't think much about other people being there. I sit and waited. When I look up, the old man had finished smoking, but he hadn't left yet. Again, whatever. They're busy, so maybe he's waiting for a good chance to have plenty of time to leave. Like I said, he's ancient. His truck is old and smaller than my boyfriend's, so our windows aren't directly next to each other. We were parked pretty close to the door. I suddenly got this really horrible gut feeling after a few minutes, and my gut isn't normally wrong. So I start looking for the issue. I don't see anything weird, but the old man is still there. But he was moving around the front seat of his truck. He starts to open his door, which is directly next to mine, and the feeling gets worse. I'm trying not to stare and to stay calm, although I feel like I'm going to pass out. I think he's looking at me through his side view mirror. I made sure the doors were locked and kept watching him out of the corner of my eyes. Hand on the door, just in case. He stopped moving and after a second, shuts his door again. And then my boyfriend came out of the store and got in the truck. Thinking about it now, the old man probably saw him and realized he was coming for our truck and stopped whatever he was doing. Anyway, he laughed to himself and when I asked, after we started driving, he said he suddenly got this idea to fight that old man out of nowhere. And he was going to kick his door closed if he tried to get any further out of his truck. I told him what had happened just barely a minute before he came outside. And we joked about how weird it was that we were both ready to fight this old man at the same moment. But I'm high now and thinking about it again. I'm really weirded out. Late summer of 2017, family came back home from holiday, back home to the Greater London, and just driving into the car park of our apartment building. It was fairly late and dark. We were desperate to get home. Other than my dad and me, everyone else in the car was asleep from the journey. I sit in the middle seat, so I can see straight down the car onto the open road. My dad drives into the car park and finds a spot. As he forwards the car into the spot, this grey car pops out of literally nowhere and rams itself into the spot. My dad was just as shocked as I am. However, none of them saw what I could see from my point of view. This man rushed out of his car and faced us for a solid 2 seconds. His face was disfigured, like Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool level disfigured. He proceeded to walk to the boot or trunk of his car, changed into another hoodie, gets back into his car and drives off. My dad brushed it off, since every now and then some idiots use our roads to race cars. But he didn't see what I saw. I was fairly young, early teens, so this shit stuck with me. We unload suitcases and walk up to the door of the building. As we are doing so, just across the street we see this car driving backwards. I can see the man in the car staring directly at us when reversing. I grabbed my suitcase and ran up the building, pumped of adrenaline. My family, other than my dad, were tired, so they couldn't care less. However, my dad was just as freaked out as I was, and we couldn't get off the topic until we fell asleep. Never have I seen that face again. Never have I seen that car again. And I sure as fuck don't want to.